You are the master of your fate. Let's begin. The world sees the names Carnegie, Ford, Edison. It sees their empires, their factories, their fortunes. It believes their success was a matter of genius or a stroke of good luck. This is what the public sees, and this is why the public rarely achieves true and lasting success. The world saw the monuments, but it never saw the blueprint. There was an unseen force at play, a set of quiet laws that were applied with unwavering precision. The men who built lasting empires did not just work hard, they were guided by a master strategy. They followed a quiet architecture. I was there, my friend. I saw it. I documented it. And what I am about to reveal to you is not a new idea. It is a timeless truth that has been quietly shaping greatness for over a century. If you are a man who wants to build a legacy, a fortune, a family, or an influence that outlasts you, and you are searching for the key, you have found it. The man who learns these quiet laws will build what others can only dream of. This is not a story about how lucky men get lucky. This is a lesson in how a definite purpose and a strategic mind can bend reality. The principles I discovered were not theories, they were proven under fire. I'm going to take you on a journey through the back rooms and quiet offices where the greatest fortunes were actually forged. We are going to expose the hidden wisdom that you will not find in any business school. I will show you how Andrew Carnegie, the Titan of steel, built his empire not by a ruthless will alone, but by harnessing the power of a Mastermind Alliance. I will reveal the first and most fundamental law of all achievement, the one that Thomas Edison used as a compass when the entire world told him he was mad. You will learn the profound difference between wishful thinking and applied faith, the powerful mental attitude that turns temporary defeat into a temporary roadblock, and nothing more. By the time we are done, you will understand why the men who came to me were already giants, and you will learn the quiet principles they used to become even bigger. You will be given the blueprint, not for a single success, but for a lifetime of them. You will understand that the fortune you desire is not a matter of luck, but a matter of law. I am going to show you how to apply these same principles to your own life, so you can become the quiet architect of your own enduring empire. The journey begins now. Your entire life can change in the moment one man asks you a question. I know, because it happened to me. I had just finished interviewing Andrew Carnegie, a man who had built a steel empire so vast it felt as though it were shaping the very landscape of our nation. As I was about to leave, he turned to me and asked a single, simple question. He wanted to know if I was willing to dedicate the next 20 years of my life to a mission. He wanted me to interview the most successful men and women in the country to find the one universal principle of success that governed all of their achievements. I had 29 seconds to give him my answer. Think about that, my friend. A man who had built one of the greatest fortunes in history was not interested in more money. He was interested in passing on the knowledge of how to build it. He gave me a definite purpose, and in that moment, the entire course of my life was altered. The lesson was not just in the question itself, but in the audacity of it. The greatest achievements often begin not with a complete plan, but with a simple, burning question and a definite purpose to find the answer. The search for the answer becomes the engine of a life's work. Most people spend their lives taking answers from others. They are told what to believe, what to do, and what to strive for. The men who build empires do the opposite. They ask the questions that no one else is asking. They are the ones who are in a position to discover the principles that govern their success. My life's work began not because I had all the answers, but because I had the courage to go out and find them for myself. So I ask you now, what is the single most important question you need to answer in your own life? What is the one thing, if you truly understood it, would change everything for you? Go and find it. Your own great work begins the moment you have the courage to ask that question. Most men go through life trying to do it all on their own. They believe that their success is a singular battle fought alone. This is the surest path to failure. I know this because I witnessed the opposite. I saw the power that is created when two or more minds are brought together in perfect harmony toward a definite purpose. This is the mastermind principle, and it is the single most powerful force I have ever witnessed. I had the profound privilege of witnessing this principle in action. I was often present when Mr. W., Ford, Mr. Edison, and Mr. Firestone would gather. These were men of titanic genius, but they never relied on their genius alone. They would sit together, often for hours, and discuss their problems. I remember one specific instance when they were all facing a similar challenge in their respective industries, a bottleneck in supply that threatened their growth. They began to speak, one idea building upon the next. It was not a debate, it was a symphony of thought. One man would lay out a problem, another would offer a perspective he had never considered, and the third would then propose a solution that was born from the combination of the two. What was happening was not a simple conversation. They were creating a third invisible mind, a creative force that was infinitely more powerful than the sum of its parts. It was as if their individual brains, when united, created a new collective brain that could access a higher level of insight. The solution that emerged from that one meeting was not one that any of them could have conceived of on his own. It was a solution born from the collective power of their definite purpose and their harmony. Your own journey to success will be defined not by how much you can do alone, but by who you have in your corner. The man who goes alone carries a weight that will eventually break him. The man with an alliance shares the burden and multiplies the power. I ask you now, my friend, do you have a mastermind? Are you actively seeking to surround yourself with men and women who will help you expand your mind and your vision? Who is in your alliance? Who is on your team? A burning desire for a definite purpose is the first law of all great achievement. It is the starting point. It is the foundation. Without it, your effort is like a ship without a rudder. You may be in constant motion. You may even feel like you are moving forward, but you are at the mercy of every current, and you are guaranteed to end up somewhere you did not intend to be. The man who does not know what he wants will never get it because he does not have a destination to arrive at. He only has a path to wander. I once met a man who was always working. He would tell me about a dozen different projects he was pursuing at the same time, all with equal enthusiasm. He was the most active man I ever knew, yet he had the least to show for it. He was a master of motion but a slave to his own indecision. He spent a great deal of effort, but his effort was scattered like dust in the wind with no central point to collect it. He was trying to get rich, but he had no definite plan or purpose. He was just trying to get rich. That is not a purpose. That is a vague hope. I want you to contrast that man with Mr. Thomas Edison. Before he ever perfected the light bulb, he knew with absolute certainty that he would. He did not merely wish for it. He did not simply hope for it. He held a definite purpose in his mind, and he was consumed by a burning desire to see it made real. He made 10,000 attempts, not because he was trying to see what would work, but because he was trying to find out what would not. Every failure was not a setback. It was a necessary step on his journey to a definite end. His purpose was a mental blueprint that guided every single action and decision, making it impossible for him to truly fail. This is the difference. A definite purpose is not a wish. It is not a goal. It is a deep-seated belief that guides every single action, every thought, and every ounce of your energy. It is an internal compass that points you toward your success, making every choice from that point on a simple matter of direction. So I ask you now, do you have a definite purpose, or do you have a vague hope? Most people believe faith is a spiritual concept, something to be reserved for a church on a Sunday. I tell you, it is a powerful mental tool that should be used every single day. Faith is the solvent of doubt. It is the one force that can dissolve the fear, uncertainty, and skepticism that will attempt to derail your purpose. Remember this, success is almost always found just beyond the point of temporary defeat, and the only thing that will carry you past that point is a deep-seated, unwavering belief in your mission. I know this from personal experience. In the early days of my great work, following Mr. Carnegie's instruction, I faced a mountain of skepticism. Many of my peers believed my quest to find a single principle of success was a fool's errand. They would ridicule me, question my methods, and suggest that I abandon my mission. There were days, I will admit, when their doubt felt heavy. It would have been easy to quit. It would have been logical to quit. But I did not, because I did not rely on hope. I relied on applied faith. Applied faith is not a blind belief in a higher power. It is the conscious and deliberate use of your own mind to remove all doubt and build an unbreakable certainty in your ability to achieve your purpose. My faith was not in the outcome itself, but in the process. My faith was in the truth of what I was uncovering. Every setback, every temporary defeat, every moment of ridicule became nothing more than fuel for my fire. I simply told myself that I would not fail because I knew the principles I was discovering were real. This is the difference. One man hopes and gives up. Another man believes with every fiber of his being, and his belief becomes a magnet for the very things he needs to succeed. Where in your life are you currently facing doubt? Is it a difficult project? A demanding goal? The ridicule of a friend or family member? That doubt is not a sign that you should stop. It is a sign that you are on the brink of an opportunity to apply a greater force. I challenge you now to find one area in your life where you have faltered and apply a stronger, more definite faith in your own purpose. The truth you seek is waiting on the other side of that doubt. The man who understands the law of definite purpose holds in his mind the key to his own empire. But a key, my friend, is of no use without a lock to open. A great idea is a key. An organized plan is the lock. Your definite purpose must be supported by a definite, practical plan for its attainment. This is the bridge that turns a thought into a thing. It is where most people fail. They hold a beautiful vision in their mind, but they never take the time to create the blueprint for its construction. They believe that desire alone is enough. It is not. Desire without a plan is just a pleasant dream. I once met a man who held a vision for a magnificent business. He could describe it in vivid detail. He spoke of its purpose, its service, and its potential for years. But it never materialized. His vision was a beautiful, magnificent cloud in his mind, but it had no roots in the ground. It had no plan for its creation. He had the desire, but he did not have the action. It was simply not enough. Then I saw the opposite. I saw a man with a vision that was equally as ambitious, but he did something different. He took out a pen and paper and he wrote down his definite purpose. Then he wrote down a clear, concise plan of action. He listed the steps he would take, the people he would need, and the resources he would acquire. It was a simple, humble document, but in that moment something shifted. His thought began to take on a physical form. The act of writing the plan down gave his vision a weight and a reality it had never had before. Opportunities that had been hidden now seemed to present themselves, because his mind was primed to see them. He was no longer just hoping, he was building. The process is simple, but it is not easy. It requires discipline. First, you state your definite purpose. Second, you write down every single step you can think of that will lead to its attainment. Third, you organize those steps into a timeline. And fourth, you begin immediately with the very first step. Your plan is the silent partner of your definite purpose. It is what separates the dreamers from the doers. I ask you now to take out a pen and paper. I want you to write down your single, definite purpose. And then I want you to write down one single step of your plan and commit to taking it today. This is the first brick in the foundation of your empire. The world sees the names of yesterday's titans, Carnegie, Ford, Rockefeller, and it sees the names of today's titans. It believes they are different. It believes that the laws of success changed when the telegraph was replaced by the internet. This is a profound and foolish mistake. The tools change, but the laws that govern human achievement do not. The principles I uncovered in the industrial age are quietly shaping today's most successful empires, and they are louder now than ever before, if you only know how to listen. I want you to look at a successful business, any one of them. Its mission statement, that clear, unwavering declaration of what it aims to do, is nothing more than a definite purpose written on paper for all to see. The board of directors or the advisory team that meets to solve a complex problem is nothing more than a modern Mastermind Alliance at work. The startup founder who has a burning desire to change the world with his single idea and who works tirelessly to see it made real is simply a man who understands the power of applied faith and persistence. He may not know my name, but he is practicing my philosophy. The quiet architecture is all around you. The law of gravity did not change when man learned to fly an airplane. It was simply understood and applied in a new way. In the same way, the laws that govern the mind did not change when the world moved from steam to electricity. They are simply being applied in new ways, with new tools, to create new kinds of empires. The man who understands this has an advantage that cannot be bought, and it cannot be taught in a school. He can see the fundamental truths that lie beneath all the noise, the technology, and the fleeting trends. He is not building for today, he is building for a lifetime. I challenge you now to become a student of the world around you. Look at a successful person or an organization you admire. See them not just for their accomplishments, but for the principles they are applying. Find the quiet architecture behind their success, and you will find the blueprint for your own. There are many who will listen to these principles and dismiss them as too simple. Others will call it wishful thinking or dismiss it as some form of modern magic. They will tell you that a definite purpose, a mastermind alliance, and applied faith are not enough to build a lasting legacy. Pay them no mind. These men are not your peers. The man who says it can't be done is usually interrupted by the man who is already doing it. And the man who calls your definite purpose wishful thinking is usually one who has no definite purpose of his own. The principles I teach are simple not because they are easy, but because the laws of nature are simple. The law of gravity is a simple principle, yet it governs the fall of a leaf and the orbit of a planet. The law of thought is the same. The principles that govern all great achievements are simple, but their application requires an unwavering discipline that most men are unwilling to give. The critics mistake simplicity for foolishness. They mistake a lack of complication for a lack of depth. Do not make this same error. The man who truly understands the power of a definite purpose does not need to impress others. He is too busy building his own empire. What is often called wishful thinking is just a vague hope without a definite plan. It is a man who says, "I wish I could be rich," but does nothing to bring it about. That is not what I am teaching. What I am teaching is the act of taking an abstract desire, giving it definite form, creating a plan, and applying an unbreakable faith in your own ability to execute that plan. This is not wishing. This is a law. It is the mental and emotional architecture that gives power to every single action. Your critics will try to distract you. Your critics will try to tell you to stop. Listen closely to what they say, because their doubt is often a direct reflection of their own lack of belief in themselves. I tell you now, do not seek permission from the doubters. Do not seek validation from those who have not achieved what you desire to build. Trust in the quiet architecture that you are learning, and trust in your own power. The critics will always be there, but the man who is busy building an empire is far too occupied to notice them. You have heard the stories. You have been given the laws. The blueprints are now in your hands. But I tell you this, a blueprint, no matter how detailed or magnificent, is nothing more than a piece of paper until the first foundation stone is laid. The only thing standing between you and your own empire is the decision to apply these principles. The knowledge is not enough. The inspiration is not enough. The understanding is not enough. The power lies in the application. I have shown you that no great fortune was ever built by a single solitary mind. You have the mastermind principle, the quiet law that unites two or more minds in a symphony of creation. I have shown you that a definite purpose is not a wish, but a mental blueprint that guides every single action. And I have shown you that your purpose must be supported by an organized plan, the very bridge that turns your thoughts into physical reality. We have talked about applied faith, the force that will carry you through every temporary defeat. You have been given the very tools that shape the foundations of enduring success stories. You now see the quiet architecture that lies beneath every monument of human achievement. The genius of these principles is not in their complexity, it is in their directness. They are waiting to be put to work by you. The power to build a legacy, to create a life of profound purpose, is not a gift for the select few. It is a law that is available to anyone who has the discipline to study it and the courage to apply it. You are no longer just a spectator. You are now the quiet architect of your own destiny. The knowledge is now in your hands. What will you build? The journey to building your empire can seem daunting. Where do you even begin? You do not have to master all of them at once. The key is to start with one. I ask you to look at these principles and decide which one you will make your own. What is the one single principle you will begin with starting today? Your future awaits your decision. The blueprints are now in your hands. But I must leave you with these final words. I have shown you that the most magnificent empires were not built by chance, but by a definite plan, a strategic mastermind, and an unshakable belief in their purpose. The principles are not a secret, they are a truth. The truth is that the power to build is an internal force, not an external circumstance. It is the unwavering decision of one mind to move from a place of wishing to a place of knowing. Do not allow the critics to deter you. Do not allow your own doubts to hold you back. You have within you the same fundamental power that guided Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, and Thomas Edison. It is a quiet power, a mental power, but it is the only kind that can truly build a lasting legacy. The world will continue to look for shortcuts. It will continue to look for external explanations for internal victories. But you, my friend, now know the truth. You are the architect of your own destiny. The work begins now. The time for talk is over. The blueprints are now in your hands. A plan is only as good as the action that follows it. You have seen the quiet laws that govern the building of empires, and you can no longer pretend you do not know them. Key takeaways and action steps here are the truths you have learned and the actions you must take to make them real. 1. The quiet architect. Remember that the most significant power is not in the public eye, but in your own disciplined mind. 2. Mastermind Alliance. No great fortune was ever created by a single mind. The power lies in a collective, harmonious brain. 3. Definiteness of purpose. This is the first law. A definite purpose is a mental blueprint that guides every action. 4. Applied faith. This is the force that will carry you through every temporary defeat. It is the solvent of all doubt. 5. Organized planning. A plan is the bridge that turns a thought into a thing. It is the simple, definite act that separates the dreamer from the doer. Your empire awaits. A 4-step assignment. The journey to building your empire begins with a single step. Here is your assignment, to be completed immediately. 1. Find your purpose. On a single sheet of paper, write down your single, most important, definite purpose in clear, simple terms. This is the seed of your empire. 2. Define your alliance. On that same paper, write down the names of 3 people who can help you achieve this purpose. They are the members of your initial Mastermind Alliance. 3. Start the plan. Write down the very first step you must take toward your purpose. This step must be so simple you can complete it within the next hour. 4. Embrace the journey. Write down a simple statement of applied faith, a belief that you will achieve your purpose, and repeat it to yourself whenever you face doubt. This is not the end of the lesson. It is only the beginning of your victory. The man who starts the work is already the man who has won. Go now and begin. Remember, your success begins the moment you decide to act.